expect the Northerners to give as much consideration to our investment in high technology manufacturing as we gave to theirs.
Special session showdown. The Tesla-like deal lawmakers may have to offer. An electric car company primed to set up shop in North Las Vegas.
Fiori's business battle. The Assemblywoman and the state are telling different stories about why her business shut down. We'll get the inside story from radio host Alan Stock.
And better for women, who's primed to capture female voters, Republicans or Democrats? We put the question to our panel.
From 8 News Now, this is Politics Now with Steve Sebelius and Patrick Walker.
Special session may soon be in the works to seal a deal with an electric car maker. Welcome to Politics Now. I'm Patrick Walker.
And I'm Steve Sebelius. The deal would bring Faraday Future, an electric car manufacturer with big pockets, into the Apex Industrial Complex in North Las Vegas. Faraday has an impressive pedigree. Its CEO is a man known as the Elon Musk of China, and upper management from companies that have worked on other electric cars. But unlike the Tesla plant, which will make only car batteries, Faraday would build the entire car here. North Las Vegas has been working on the deal for nearly a year, and North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee wouldn't say much, but this is what he told the I-Team's George Knapp.
We started working with them in December of last year, and if you look at all the interaction we've had, they've come here, we went there. I mean, we've built a relationship, a business-to-business relationship. They're the real deal. I couldn't ask for a better company to consider being our partner in North Las Vegas.
Economist Robert Lang from Brookings West at UNLV put together estimates for job creation from Faraday. He says it is close to about 2.5 times the highest estimated impact from the Tesla battery factory. Lang estimates a whopping 116,000 direct and indirect jobs.
Non-disclosure agreements have politicians tight-lipped about a potential special session, but Lang has been working on the deal for about 6 months. I met him out at the Apex site to talk about what would need to happen. Here's that interview. First of all, Rob, tell us why we need a special session in the first place. Is it because the incentives in the law aren't sufficient for what Faraday wants to do, or what's the reason behind it?
Yeah, they have to change it for the terms that Faraday is seeking, which is it's not as much a real estate deal as the Tesla plant. It's more a jobs deal. So we could switch it from right now, it's focused on do you do X billion dollars worth of real estate investment, to job performance, and that's what we'd have to do in that special session. And it would help Tesla as well.
So Tesla could take advantage of the Faraday law that we presume they're going to pass in the special session.
And it should be jobs-based. It shouldn't be a real estate deal.
Yeah.
It should be about how many jobs you yield out of a plant like that, not how much it costs, because the plants are relatively inexpensive. They come in modular components and so on. So, you can bolt them together like an IKEA.
So the law that was passed for Tesla in northern Nevada is you can't just use that for this.
No, because you're not going to get to the $3.5 billion. You're going to get to more jobs direct than Tesla, because we're talking about 8,000.
Right.
But the plant itself will be less expensive.
What do you expect for this special session? Tesla was approved essentially in one day by the legislature. Do you anticipate this will go in one day? Or
I would, or in a very short order. And the reason is it's all preloaded, and the governor's staff have the information that's necessary to get this deal to get to yes with the firm, with Faraday Future. So it should be smooth, and I expect the Northerners to give as much consideration to our investment in high technology manufacturing as we gave to theirs, which was unanimous support without question.
You mentioned support from Northern lawmakers for this project, the way Southern Nevada supported the Tesla project. Were there barriers to getting this project here in North Las Vegas?
I think you're going to have to ask the city of North Las Vegas, because they were the original point of contact on this deal. So they did their own due diligence, and they have all those details. But if this is the preferred location for the firm.
Yeah, they want to move to
They want here. And my understanding is that the firm would not pick another location in Las Vegas. It would move on to another state they were considering.
I see. So it was North Las Vegas or bust.
It was North Las Vegas, or it wasn't in Nevada. To them, the deal is specific to Las Vegas Metro.
There has to be money for a water line out here, I understand, in order to facilitate development.
If you look up north, they had to build a road for $150 million. What we're seeking is basically, the state to step up and secure the loan. Right? The state has better credit for bonds than the city of North Las Vegas, because
Yeah.
it's been through some pretty hard knocks in the last recession, and the state's been better off in that regard with credit agencies. So it would be cheaper to borrow through that bonding capacity than through the city proper.
So for the pieces that we're looking at here, we're looking at jobs incentives, we're looking at that water line. Those are two essential things that need to happen before Faraday would be able to move here. How soon does that need to happen?
Almost concurrent, but the water can wait a little while. There's groundwater at the site, and you're allowed to pump it pretty heavily if you're building capacity.
So how soon does that special session need to happen? I know the groundbreaking for this needs to happen relatively quickly in order to get this project on the way in time for when they want to start manufacturing cars.
Yeah, because they've got a 17 deadline. They have an aggressive deadline for starting the manufacture. I think it has to happen before Thanksgiving. And it should happen in the next couple of weeks, and we're just waiting the announcement to see whether or not we've actually secured this firm in the state.
Could this spark a whole spate of manufacturing in addition to car manufacturing, other products here at Apex?
I think it might, and here's why. There's a lot of land. This is one of the largest sites in the greater Southwest. Plus, we have the Consumer Electronics Show in our city, and they're going to be running tours of this plant out of that Consumer Electronics Show. The Faraday wants Las Vegas for all the right reasons.
Yeah, a few thousand acres out there for development. I know they've been working for several months on the plan to get the water line out there. But Steve, a special session would mean a chance for everyone to bring up those pet bills. So, tying along, okay, I'll give you the support to do this. What are some of the things we could see brought to the agenda?
Well, that could be a long list. Every lobbyist, every lawmaker who saw their bills die as the clock ran out, is going to think, oh, hey, here's a great opportunity to get my project back. They tried to do that even with the Tesla special session, and remember the film tax credits were going on. I would suspect probably one of the things we've heard a lot about is that ESA plan. There's a requirement to be in public schools for 100 days before a child can be pulled out and go to a private school with an ESA account. A lot of people said that's not fair, and that should be erased so that anybody even people who are going to private schools right now should be able to take advantage of the ESA. So I think you'd see probably some people trying to get that on as well.
And then also quickly, we're talking about tagging on, but also taking away. Where can they pull money to make this deal happen? It seems like Tesla was a lot of work, so now where do you pull for this?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things they don't know at this point. I think that's one of the things that's still being worked out. That's gonna have to, going forward, we're gonna have to figure out where that money is gonna come from.
Well, Bernie Sanders doubling down campaign efforts here in Nevada, opening the first of his campaign offices in Las Vegas. You could almost say tripling down, because according to his campaign, this is the first of 10 offices opening up in Nevada in the next few weeks. Most of them, they tell me, here in Clark County. Hillary Clinton has 3 offices in the state, which have been up and running for months, according to her Nevada outreach manager. He tells me their efforts have been a big part of Clinton's big lead in the state. But the Sanders campaign tells me they want to keep cutting into Clinton's lead, which has shrunk, remember, from 37 points in July to 16 points last month.
We have hundreds of volunteers who have been showing up on a daily basis. They want to be part of this campaign. They want to be part of a team that is going to help win.
Well, the campaign offices are like organizing points for volunteers and staff members, and phone bank and door-to-door efforts, for example, are coordinated in these offices. So, talking about that a little bit, with all of the groundwork, we talk about the Hillary Clinton campaign being here first. That was a big buzzword with them. We've had the experience doing this before. So does the number, triple the number of offices for Bernie Sanders, does that cut into it?
Well, it shows he's taking Nevada seriously. Whether or not he can catch up is a tough thing. Hillary Clinton's been here for a long time. She's had a lot of organizing experience with this particular caucus. This is Bernie Sanders' first time in the Nevada caucus, so it's going to be tough to catch up, but he's definitely making an effort.
And we're right at about that 100-day mark or so until the caucuses. You talk about Trump and Carson here. No ground game per se, no offices. Do they have time to catch up? Do they have time to make an impact?
Yeah, interestingly enough, they paid their filing fee. They're going to participate. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They have done it's entirely media, and really not a lot of ground game going on.
Oh, of course, we'll be keeping an eye on that as well, and keeping an eye on the opening of all of those Bernie Sanders offices. All right. Well, as we mentioned before, talking about that, let's move on to where we're going next. Talking about eyeing a run. Will Michele Fiori hop in a congressional race, and will a battle over her business hurt her?
Good deal or bad deal? We'll ask a panel if the state should fork over incentives for Faraday. Next.
I wanted the same plan that my mother had. Senior Dimensions.
I've had Senior Dimension for over 20 years, and I love it.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you need to take a look at the plan that offers you more than original Medicare.
Cost is very important to me, and that's why I choose Senior Dimensions.
Senior Dimensions members pay a $0 monthly premium.
I'm just so happy with my doctors.
Senior Dimensions members pay a $0 copay for primary care doctor visits. And our members pay a $0 copay for specialist visits. And a $0 copay for hospital stays as well.
I wanted a plan that's been here as long as we have.
Senior Dimensions is one of the longest standing local Medicare Advantage plans in Nevada, celebrating its 30th year of caring for Medicare eligibles right here where you live, and includes emergency coverage nationwide when you travel.
Senior Dimensions covers my medications, and that keeps me moving.
Our plan offers many Tier 1 preferred generic drugs for a $0 copay at most local neighborhood pharmacies.
I like that I have plenty of doctors and specialists to choose from.
Senior Dimensions offers a broad network of local providers, including Southwest Medical Associates, one of the largest and fastest growing multi-specialty groups in Nevada. And our transportation benefit offers you up to 24 one-way rides a year.
Senior Dimensions is everything for me.
Open enrollment is here, and you don't want to miss out on the plan that gives you more than original Medicare. $0 copays for primary care doctor visits, specialist visits, hospital stays, and preventative screenings. And our Fit for Life Club and Silver Sneakers benefit gives you access to gyms and exercise classes at local facilities at no additional cost to you. You have until December 7th to enroll. Don't wait. Call now and find out if Senior Dimensions is right for you.
It's what I want.
And she gets what she wants.
It's what I want. Senior Dimensions.
That's my plan.
Welcome back to Politics Now.
Well, Republican Assemblywoman Michele Fiori is no stranger to controversy, and now her home health care business is closed. The state says it showed up to inspect the business but found it closed down, so regulators are revoking her license to operate. Fiori says she decided to close her business because of red tape and regulations, and this all comes as she files paperwork to run for Congress.
And here to talk about all of this with us is veteran local talk radio host Alan Stock on KXNT. Alan, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So, Alan, is the publicity surrounding Fiori's business going to hurt her in a potential run for Congress?
It depends. I had her on my show after all this broke, and she said, first of all, that a lot of what was published in the mainstream media was not true. She said she penned an article on September 27th for La Vogue or Vogue magazine, I'm not sure, but she said in that she said she was shutting down her business. It was for a November 1st publication. So she said she claims that the state regulators asserted that they pulled her license after inspectors with the Bureau of Health Care Quality and Compliance made an attempt to survey her business and found that things were closed are patently false, that she made this decision long before they came aboard.
So in this, then, who's in the wrong, who's in the right? Do you get the feeling from Assemblywoman Fiori that that's the way it was, or do you think the state version is flawed, or where do you see that playing out?
Well, obviously, I was not behind the scenes, so I can't give you a definitive answer. I can tell you that she has told me for a long time that she's felt harassed by government agencies and by government bureaucracy, and that they have made things difficult for her. I've heard this from other business people, having nothing to do with politics, Republican or Democrat, that they feel harassed and hassled by government bureaucracy. So is it a possibility that the government bureaucracy played a role in her closing her business? I think that's absolutely, that's possible.
Now, and on your show, there's many memorable moments, but how did you react? Did she really compare herself to Rosa Parks, and what was your reaction to that?
What she was saying, you remember that? She was saying basically that she felt like she was being discriminated against, and she was not going to be the person going to the back of the bus, just going, okay, I'll do that. She was going to stand up, in other words, and fight for her views, and that she felt were very, very important. And she's going to be battling government. She's going to probably run for the Republican nomination for the 3rd Congressional District, along with about 400 other people. And the result of that is that the moderate Republican Michael Roberson will wind up winning. So conservative Republicans, if they really want to win that seat, they're going to have to get together and decide which one of them is going to choose Roberson. But what she plans to do, she wants to go back to Washington, D.C. to make the changes there. I talked to her about this. I said, you've done an incredible job trying to get things done in Carson City. And she said, but we've been hampered by a lot of regulations coming from the federal government, so I feel if I go to the federal government, I can make those changes there, which will affect Nevada.
And really, with about 15 seconds left, real quick, what are her chances then in that crowded field? You mentioned it's going to be a very busy field.
Well, you're taking a piece of the pie, cutting it up 4 ways between 4 conservatives, and Michael Roberson's going to have the establishment vote, the money from Sandoval and all those people, and I think Roberson will win unless 3 of the conservatives drop out and support one. One good conservative could beat Roberson. 4 will hand it to him.
You heard it first right here. Alan Stock, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for joining us, Alan. Appreciate it. Well, the race Fiori may get into is pretty crowded already. Following the money, I'll break down where everybody stands on their fundraising so far.
And Face Off, we talked to the left and the right about the potential tax incentive deal for Faraday Future. Is it a good idea? And which party is better for women voters? Stay with us.
Accidents are never planned. That's why we created the Ed Bernstein Free Accident Fund.
Oh my God! Don't worry, Grandma. I have the Ed Bernstein app. I know what to do.
So you can be prepared.
Enough said. Call Ed. EdBernstein.com.
If you love to drive and you're looking for a career with amazing benefits, we've got great news. Yellow Checker Star Transportation is now hiring honest, safe drivers. First-year drivers average over $40,000 a year, and we offer one of the best benefits packages in the industry. You can even recommend a friend to YCS and receive $200. So if you're interested in making $40,000 a year with great benefits, apply online today at ycstrans.com and get your career in gear.
Stop monthly TV payments. That's right, with Mr. Antenna. Tired of paying for cable or satellite TV? Mr. Antenna is the answer. You get 45 local digital TV channels with the outdoor antenna. No monthly payments, just a one-time installation fee. Stop the circus of TV payments. Join a growing trend of people moving from pay TV. Get rid of the jumble. Call Mr. Antenna today. 608-1313.
We exposed state health officials trying to downplay asbestos in the valley. But that's just the beginning of what we found in their emails. Tomorrow at 11, George Knapp found all sorts of inconsistencies in these health official stories, from promising investigations that never happened.
We need to discuss and coordinate our next step in dealing with this doctor.
To misleading their boss, the governor.
Why is the governor requesting this?
George lays it all on the table. Tomorrow on 8 News, now at 11.
Well, this is The Race Now, where we fill you in on some of the big political stories that are playing out right now. Is Republican frontrunner Donald Trump wooing billionaire election financier Sheldon Adelson? Trump has complained about the influence of outside money on the race, but Thursday admitted he talked to Sheldon, although he now says he doesn't want his money. CBS News reports an unnamed source close to Adelson is saying Trump clearly asked him for money. And corrupt GOP Assemblyman James Oscarson is seeking re-election. That race could be one of the toughest in the state. Oscarson voted for the governor's $1 billion tax package to fund education. The county's Republican Central Committee drafted a resolution asking to excommunicate him. Steve?
Thanks, Patrick. Now it's time for Face Off. We bring on guests from the right and the left to give us their perspective on critical issues of the day. Today we have Annette Magnus, Executive Director of Battle-Born Progress from the left, and Amy Tarkanian, former Republican State Party Chairwoman and County Party Executive Board Member from the right. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks for having us.
So the first question, we talked earlier in the broadcast about the potential special session for Faraday and a incentive package to bring that company here. Do you think we ought to pass that tax? And now, let's start with you on this one.
You know, I'm having a hard time with this one because the more and more we do this, it becomes a theme, and we're going to have to keep doing this to get businesses here. I'd love businesses just to want to come here because we're Nevada and we're great. I understand needing to diversify our economy. I understand needing more jobs to come to Nevada. I understand the need to try and save North Las Vegas, frankly. But Apex doesn't have the development yet there. We're going to have to ship in water, which we don't have a whole lot of. There's a lot of things that are going to go into this. So what are we willing to give up in Nevada to get these businesses to come here? And I think that's going to be a real balancing act that we're going to have to figure out.
Okay, a little skeptical. Amy, what do you think?
Well, I do agree with Annette. However, you know, we did have Tesla up in the north. They were approved very quickly, I think within a day or so by the legislators. And I think now it's our turn down here in the south. Once we have those issues looked at and possibly fixed, then I think it'd be a great idea. But we do have to take a good look, though, at what we're willing to give. You know, I think it's good if we possibly give tax abatements. We're dealing with property tax, maybe with payroll tax. Possibly if they meet the goal financially, maybe the commerce tax. Those things I think are good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Second question, and a general question. Which party is going to be better for women, and specifically why, in this next election? Amy, let's start with you on that one.
Well, that's an interesting question because I think that by us focusing on just women in general is a little silly. You know, I'm a female. I have the same desires, needs, and wants as, say, my husband. I want to be able to feed my children. I want to be able to have a job. I want to be able to make sure that I can provide for my family. Now, if you're going to go on the social issues and look at things such as abortion, I'm pro-life. If you're going to look at contraception, I think that should be left up to the individual. As far as health care, if the private business doesn't want to provide the contraception, that's left up to the private business. So I think you can really, what issue are you going to be looking at specifically? And I think both parties hopefully would have women, you know, in what am I trying to say?
Well, let's ask. What do you think?
Involved,
what
yes.
do you think?
Well, if you look at what the candidates nationally are saying right now, there is a stark contrast to what they're saying. You have one side talking, the liberals, the Democrats, talking about equal pay. I mean, in every debate you hear them talking about equal pay, paid sick leave, you know, minimum wage, all of these issues that really are family issues, like Amy said. But you know, women are now the breadwinners of their family. They're trying to take care of their family, and if they don't have these things, if they're not able to make a living wage, that's a problem. If I'm not able to make the same amount of money as my husband, that's a problem. And so you see the Democrats talking about that over and over and over again, and then you see the Republicans like Michele Fiori saying the minimum wage is unconstitutional. That's a huge problem too. And so you got to look at these candidates because, yeah, like Amy said, you know, choice is going to be a huge issue. Birth control is a huge issue. And the Democrats, frankly, in my opinion, on these issues have been better so far.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Annette Magnus, Amy Tarkanian, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate
it. We'll have you back for sure. Up next, taking the lead, I'll follow where the money is going in the Republican primary race for Congressional District 3. Stay tuned.
Over here! Here's your Call of Duty Ultimate Care package.
Nice package.
The Ultimate Care Package. A Tex-Mex Bacon Thick Burger and chance to win Black Ops 3 prizes at Carl's Jr.
When you're smiling, Smiles Today Dental is offering free braces for all ages in celebration of the opening of our second location. To enter, call 655-6777, and if you clinically qualify, your name will be entered for our monthly drawing to win free braces. Now you can have the smile you've always dreamed of at Smiles Today Dental. The whole world smiles with you. Smiles Today Dental, free transportation for any patient.
So I wasn't a great high school golfer, but I played a very important part on the football team.
Yeah, Dad, what did you do?
Stacy, I can't tell you.
Dad?
Jim Marski has received extra allocation from the factory due to our tremendous sales volume. Jim Marski has no more room to put these extra cars, so we must sell them immediately. Get a new Kia for only $99 per month. Get $7,000 cash back to spend as you please. 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Come find out why we are the #1 Kia dealer in Nevada. And remember, if you don't drive here, you can't save here.
Mannheim Steamroller Christmas by Chip Davis. Celebrating the holiday spirit for over 30 years. It's the music that revolutionized the sound of Christmas. A Christmas tradition. Don't miss this holiday extravaganza.
December 3rd at the Orleans Arena. Tickets on sale now at orleansarena.com or by calling 702-284-7777.
Mannheim Steamroller Christmas by Chip Davis.
Mix and match any two for just $5.55. Only at Carl's Jr.
The Republican primary race for the 3rd Congressional District is crowded, but the fundraising breaks down exactly as you might expect. Incumbents and famous names draw the dollars. But there is one twist. A candidate is paying himself a salary out of his campaign funds. Review Journal political reporter Ben Botkin broke that story this week, detailing how candidate Andy Matthews has paid himself more than $11,000 in salary thus far. Matthews raised $136,000 in the most recent quarter. That's July through September. He spent $28,000 and has $107,000 left in the bank. Thus far, nobody has filed an FEC complaint against Matthews for the salary. No donors have publicly objected. The big news in the district is State Senator Michael Roberson, who pulled in $443,000. That's an impressive haul. Roberson spent just $24,000 and has more in the bank than anyone else, nearly $420,000. Danny Tarkanian, son of legendary Runnin' Rebels basketball coach Jerry Tarkanian, also raised an impressive amount, $357,000. He kept expenses low as well, just $23,000. Tarkanian's making his 5th bid for public office this year, still has $333,000 left in the bank. Finally, Dr. Annette Tejero raised nearly $11,000 for her bid. She's got just $1,400 left to spend. Whichever Republican wins the 3rd district primary is going to be in pretty good shape. Thus far, no high-profile Democratic challenger has emerged in the district, although Democrats have tried to recruit some big-name candidates without success. Patrick?
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Now, this is What to Watch, where we preview the big stories you could expect to be hearing about in the next week. Democratic presidential candidates Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley are in Las Vegas on Monday. Both are speaking at an immigration summit at the Link. We'll have live coverage of that for you tomorrow. And next Saturday, the 2nd Democratic primary debate is being held in Des Moines, Iowa. CBS is teaming up with Twitter to host it and offer real-time questions for the candidates. The 3 remaining candidates, Clinton, Sanders, and O'Malley, are all expected to participate. And of course, right after the debate, we'll host a special edition of Politics Now. That will be airing at 8 o'clock immediately after it wraps up.
We'll also have all the week's news and everything you need to know in politics.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of Politics Now. Remember, you can email us at politicsnow@lasvegasnow.com, politics@lasvegasnow.com, with any comments, questions, or suggestions.